They defend the talking points that they have had sort of inserted into their brains, okay? I don't know if you know what I mean by that.
I do, kind of. The frame.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat a different problem, because the frame thing is real, and it has to do with how we think about things. But and we do need to discuss things in terms of frames and what frames are appropriate and work on framing.
Right, but then we've got those people, okay, who have the framing, okay, set up in their minds already to the point where like a progressive a progressive mindset will never fit in. You see what I'm saying? Like if you're somebody who listens to Glenn Beck every day and you think that progressives are eugenicists, genocidal monsters, you're never going to be able to fit in with their agenda, because somebody's going to come along and say, hey, you know who thinks that? Progressives. And then there's a certain percentage of the population who will never really give a shit about politics. So that puts people who follow politics and pay attention and know what's going on and want to move things in the right direction will probably always be a minority. However, when you take into account that a lot of people aren't involved in politics at all, then maybe in voting terms they could be a majority.
I don't buy that. I think that's how things are looking right now and how things have been looking for a long time. But I don't think that things are necessarily always going to be that way. And I'm not saying this because I'm optimistic, because goodness knows I'm not. I'm the most cynical man on the planet. But I think that people, whether they care about politics or not, is a dynamic thing. It can change depending on how much they perceive politics to affect them. And the ability of people to accept a contradictory frame and terminology is based on how much propaganda is being shot at them versus how much, reason is being shot at them. And that's something that, is a little bit, it's people can only hold so many contradictions and still function as thinking, working people. I mean, we all gotta be able to wipe our ass at least.
And I think, Brendon, that how involved people are in politics has to do with how much feedback they get from it. You know what I'm saying? Like how much they see their involvement in politics actually change things. And I think that's why right now things look so down, is because, with Obama's election, we had a huge involvement in politics. People were, this was the people's election of Barack Obama as their populist representative looking out for the little man, and they got nothing out of it. In the last year, they've got jack to show for it. And that's why you see a lot of people dropping out and feeling really hopeless right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's apathy.
But if you had a more responsive government, then more people would get involved, I think.
That is right. You got that's the reason for the sort of nadir that we're SNADIR that we're at in public faith in the political system right now.
And unfortunately, the tendency that is fed by that is that it's going to increase the power of the people who are always engaged, which is, certainly like the diehard constituencies of both parties, but I mean also the people who are on the fringes, the people who are the reactionaries within both parties. I think will become stronger.
You mean like us?
I don't know. I think probably the reactionaries that have, I don't know, maybe that's something that could happen within the Democratic Party.
Well, no, that's actually something I was kind of thinking about earlier when we were talking about the Tea Party movement and the backing that they have. Do you think it's possible for a real grassroots progressive movement to sort of grow up without that support, without corporate funding or media which is cooperative to their cause.
It might be that's the only possible way it could grow up.
I think that the most important thing to make that happen, you have to defeat the notion of lesser of two evils. Because that's the thing I think that consistently pushes people, consistently pushes the Democratic Party towards the center. I mean, that whole notion of the lesser of two evils and having to constantly make deals with the devil to stay in power, that whole philosophy, I think, is what is responsible for the constant slide to the right.
Unfortunately, Zach, that Hydra grew a lot of heads during the 2000 election.
In what sense?
Well, I mean, that notion was sort of fed in the 2000 election when so many people, I think obviously wrongfully, attributed Gore's loss to Ralph Nader.
Right. Well, I mean, we know what all the problems with that are. I mean, like the fact that Gore, whatever you think of him, didn't lose. And
they didn't get the message that if they don't want votes to go to Nader, they should probably offer something to Nader voters. But again, that's a message that we don't have a cooperative media to get across. Which is why we have to take back talking points.
I was just saying he was kind of a crappy candidate in the first place. I mean...
No argument.
It was 2000. I didn't vote in that election. I could have voted. I didn't vote. Then Bush got elected, and I was like, oh no. And then I voted in 2004 for Kerry. And then Bush got elected again.
I actually could not vote yet in the 2000 election.
I didn't want to vote for Kerry. I was voting lesser of two evils. That got me the greater of two evils. I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that deeply about politics, and I went for Gore. And then for Kerry, that was totally a reaction against Bush. Though, I mean, Kerry has been a very productive legislator. Not always brilliant, but I mean, he's been hardworking and he has gotten a lot of things accomplished. His name is on a lot of stuff. And more importantly, I think he's a hard worker.
During the 2004 election, I felt like I was voting for Kerry, not against Bush. I liked him.
I didn't like him because I had caucused for Dean. And I thought Kerry was a jackass. But I voted for him. I sucked it up.
Yeah, I mean, I was largely the same way. And I mean, my concerns with Kerry right from the beginning were that I thought that he was an extremely conservative choice that wasn't offering enough of a difference from Bush. And I mean, I think
it's a flip-flopper.
I was born out in that. I mean, I think Bush very successfully got to say in the course of that election process, look, you say I'm so awful, but this other guy who's running against me, he doesn't disagree with me about that much.
Wonder if we'd still have the Patriot Act if Kerry had won.
I think that stuff's kind of useless to think about.
We've still got it under Obama.
I mean, that did not happen.
Did not happen indeed.
I don't think a whole lot would be different, no.
Okay, guys. One last question, and then let's wrap things up here. Who do you think Joe Stack voted for?
Ron Paul.
Yeah, that would be my guess, that he wrote in Ron Paul, or he voted for the Constitution Party candidate or something like that. I don't think he did anything conventional. I think probably by the last election he was probably disgusted enough with the standard offerings that he wasn't interested in them.
Okay, here on Take Back Talking Points, putting words in people's mouths and throwing Ron Paul under the bus.
We should tell people to read our blog.
Oh yeah, sure, why not? If you're still watching at this point, you might as well read our blog.
Oh, you want to know where that blog is? It's at TBTP. That's Taco Baker Peter Taco .wordpress.com. Is that the official? Oh wait.
No, you got that backward, dude.
It'll be linked in the sidebar for all you lazy people who can't be bothered to figure anything out.
I messed that up. Okay. We can just edit that out.
Right. To make you look good. Because Alex always does that for us.
You guys have a problem with how I edit the show?
Help! Hank! Help! Hank! Help! 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 No!
Thanks for watching.